Game ain't over. The sun is shining. And it ain't over.
You wanted the best, you got the best from my home studio on Long Island, New York. Welcome to Ian Scotto Rocks. I am your host, Ian Scotto. And today we're going to be talking about an interview I came across. This is nothing new. It's from a while back. It's from The Desk of Low, so shout out to The Desk of Low. Unlike some content creators, I'm not one of those people who just says, from a recent interview. No, I always credit who I got this from, and I'm always checking out other people's content. OPC, other people's content. You down with the OPC? Yeah, you know me. So I'm a very big fan of Non Phixion. I'm also a very big fan of Linkin Park. But Non Phixion is one of those groups who I feel really didn't get the proper respect that they deserve. And part of it is, look, they only released one album in 2001, an absolute cult classic. They're still doing shows off of it. They still have careers off of it. I actually just recently saw Non Phixion do a show at Amityville Music Hall in Amityville, Long Island. But yeah, this was really interesting because Linkin Park came up around the same time that Non Phixion put out their first album, and I didn't really think of any connection here. So this is an interview that Goretex did with The Desk of Low. Goretex, otherwise known as many other names, Lord Gore, Lord Goat, Lord Gore Elohim. And part of that is, if you don't know, Goretex at one point was sued by the company Goretex and was no longer able to use that name anymore. I heard it was a very messy lawsuit, but we all kind of know him as Goretex. Actually saw him outside of that show at Amityville Music Hall and got to speak with him a little bit. Definitely not at all about this. We were talking actually about the Cavalera brothers and Sepultura, because I know he's a big metalhead. But yeah, this was an interesting interview I came across, in this part particularly, where he accuses Linkin Park of ripping off one of their more known songs. So let's get into it.
We go up to Warner Brothers, and this is like when all that Linkin Park shit, remember Linkin Park came out, and all that shit.
Styles of
and those guys were right, and those guys were going to sign Linkin Park. So the A&R kid at Warner, he was this Asian dude named Kevin. And Kevin was a huge fan of Non Phixion. You know what I'm saying? Kevin was like, listen, Non Phixion should be on Warner Brothers. Y'all are dope. I really want to get these guys interested in you so we can just sign you up. So we were like, all right, cool. Finally, this should happen, And we gave Kevin our tape, which had like Black Helicopters. It had specifically CIA is Trying to Kill Me. That was the second song on there. So, excuse me.
I know it.
So, long story short, we give Kevin the tape, and we go back for another meeting at Warner Brothers, and he's like, yo, bro, I played the Non Phixion tape. I played the demo for Linkin Park.
Sure.
So we were like, all right, cool, because they showed us a video. I think it was One Step Beyond, or One Step, with the first single.
One Step Closer, yeah.
Right, so they played me One Step Closer, which I thought the song was cool. I didn't think the fashion was cool and the dyed hair. I thought all that shit was whack, but I thought the music was okay. So I was like, yeah, bro, these guys are cool. And he was like, yo, these guys love you. Like I played them the demo. They asked me to copy it. Like, I didn't know what to say. These guys, they loved it. And they want to do something with Non Phixion. So we were like, all right, cool. Like, we'll fuck with them. So he was like, yeah, we're going to sign them. Well, they're already signed. But we got to do some preliminary stuff. Yeah. So let's see how this works out. And you guys can work together and do something, a video or a single. So we were like, all right, cool. Even though we were more on the urban, we were more from like the urban, like we were a street group, basically. We weren't a put together fake tough guy thing. We were an actual street group from the streets. So,
by the way, I'll just jump in right here to say I've heard this before. If you're a fan of Linkin Park and you know Fort Minor, which Mike Shinoda started, he has this line where he says, people used to infer that we were manufactured. But I've actually heard that from other people in the industry, that type of accusation that he's kind of referencing here. I'm friends with Jimmy Allen, original guitar player for Puddle of Mud, and he was talking about when Puddle of Mud was moving out to LA. I don't know if he actually moved to LA. I think Jimmy did at one point move to LA, actually. And he said, yeah, we were recording our early stuff after getting signed, which he was not on the original Puddle of Mud first album, Coming Clean. But he said that Linkin Park were using the same studios before they even had an album out. They were driving around in like new Mercedes or BMWs or something. And he was like, I think those guys came for money. So I've heard that before. Don't know if it's fact or not, or the idea that they were manufactured. But I get what Goretex is coming from here, because Non Phixion is a group from the Brooklyn Projects and just underground hip hop.
It's a little different than what they were doing.
Straight from the underground.
Right. These guys are from like OC. And like, you know, these guys hang out, whatever it is.
It's from
like,
the garage, in the garage.
Yeah, they're playing new metal and they're from Cali, and like it's just different for us. And so that's fine, whatever. A few months go by and this guy Kevin doesn't sign us for whatever happens, or the meeting, whatever happened. We didn't get signed by Warner Brothers. And the Linkin Park album comes out, the first one.
Yeah, Hybrid Theory.
And I'm listening to it, you know, because like even at the time, like my son was little. But my kid liked Linkin Park when the first album came out. Like, he was a little kid. He liked it. So I was like, all right, cool. You know? He wanted me to buy the record for him, so I bought him the record. So I put on number 6, which I think is a song called Paper Cut.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I put on Paper Cut, and I'm like, I'm listening to it. I'm like, yo, this sounds weird. I don't know why. It sounds like it's not clicking with me. And then I hear the chorus, and it's like, basically, this guy's ripped off the chorus to CIA. They ripped off like half the chorus.
Oh, yo, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so if you listen to Paper Cut, he's like, I'm paranoid. I'm looking over my back. So they're listening to Non Phixion 85 times a day, but we're like, I'm paranoid. So that whole paranoid shit, they literally stole from us the same week they recorded that. You know what I'm saying? And, it's like, it's not the end of the world, but it's like, yo, bro, you guys know you stole the chorus, right? They know they did. So at least be cool. Like, we didn't get to deal with Warner Brothers, which is fine.
Yeah.
But at least they should have contacted us and said, listen, we loved your demo. We couldn't stop listening to it. We were huge fans of Non Phixion. Yeah, we stole your chorus. Big fucking deal. You know, we'll give you royalty points. So if you gave us royalty points, that record sold like 16 million copies.
What also, I want to add on to that now too, which also is kind of weird now too, because they remixed that album called Reanimation, and the whole first album was remixed. So at least they could have added you on the Paper Cut remix, because I remember that whole album was remixed. Right.
But again, shit is weird. So, that happened. And I was like, okay, cool. So we just missed out. We just missed out at $500,000. All right, cool. Listen, maybe about a year later, I was in a club in LA, and I seen the DJ from Linkin Park. I don't know if you know who he is. He's Mr. Han.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So I see Mr. Han, and he's walking down the steps. He's wearing like a trench coat or whatever, and I'm walking up the stairs. He sees me and looks at me, and literally, he does a dash, turns around, and runs out.
Damn.
Like runs.
Sounds like Mr. Han was shook. Shook One's part 2 right there.
Trench coat or whatever, and I'm walking up the stairs. He sees me and looks at me, and literally, he does a dash, turns around, and runs out. He like runs away from wherever he was running. He ran the fuck out of there. So I'm like, yo, really?
Wild story, right?
He knows. Like, this guy knew. So it just pissed me off that we didn't have words. You know what I mean? Because he could have been a man. He could have been like, yo, bro, it ain't no thing. Just, we were influenced by the chorus. He could have done anything. Here, get on the song. Let's do a show. Or he could have been anything. Instead, he runs away from me. And then I'm like, let me find this guy. Because I wasn't going to attack him. I have no reason to attack him. I wanted to just look him in the face. So I see him by the bathroom, coming out of the bathroom. And I was like, Mr. Han, what's good, bro? And again, he was like mad nervous. I'm like, bro, it's all love, bro. I'm just saying what's up to you, bro.
Once again, you like Non Phixion being street guys. I really, I do think Mr. Han's a little shook. He prefaced this with like, yeah, these were kind of guys from OC Cali. We're street dudes from Brooklyn. Like, yeah, Non Phixion is a group of, for Goretex, Mexican Jewish dude who doesn't fuck around. So I don't think they were used to that confrontation.
Could have looked out, yeah, He's like, oh, he's like making it like cop and please like these guys do. You know how that is. He's like, oh. He's like, yo, man, my bad. He's like, yo, we got busy. Yeah, whatever. So, again, it's like losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars because these guys, listen, I don't care. I'm over it. It's funny to me because people have hit me up and I'm like, yo, those guys fans of yours? I get a Non Phixion vibe on some of that album. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? So, that's years ago. It's years ago. It's just funny to me.
That's some interesting stuff. So I heard this interview, and once again, check out the full interview. I'll link to it in the full interview in the description because I always like to give credit where credit is due. But yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. So I want to hear what you guys think, and I'll give you my reaction, and we'll play the specific parts of the songs that he's talking about. Now, one thing that's interesting is he says that Linkin Park heard the original demo versions of these songs. I don't have the demo versions. I don't know if they were ever released. So we're going on the version that was on the official release, which was The Future Is Now from Non Phixion. There was also a rock remix of this song, but that's not the one he's talking about. The rock remix did feature members of Fear Factory and Deftones, which is really cool. But yeah, let's skip to the hook of exactly the part that he's talking about here.
I'm paranoid, tell me what the fuck they asked you. You fuck around with me and I'ma have to blast you. The CIA trying to kill me with bad news. Get the fuck up out my way when I pass through. I'm paranoid, tell me what the fuck they asked you. You fuck around with me and I'ma have to blast you. The CIA trying to kill me with bad news. Fuck around with Non Phixion, that's a bad move.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Fuck around with Non Phixion, it's a bad move. Great song, great album. Let's hear Paper Cut, which is what he says they were influenced on. All right, here we go, guys. Great song. Probably one of my favorites from that album. Okay, what do you guys think? Here is my feeling. I think they were influenced by the song. I agree with Goretex on that. And even if it's inadvertently influenced, he makes a point. If you're listening to the song over and over again and they were feeling Non Phixion, which I 100% believe, you might have heard that hook and not even realized it, but have been influenced in some way. The point that I'll give to Linkin Park is I don't agree with Goretex that they deserved songwriting credits or anything like that. They don't sound similar enough to have songwriting credits. If you ever took that to court, that wouldn't fly. It doesn't sound similar enough. It's similar wording in the hook, different musically. Similar, there's some influence, but I wouldn't go as far as Goretex does as to say they ripped them off. And I do think there's some understandable bitterness sometimes in the underground hip-hop world because they influence so many different artists. Esham talks about this a lot, how he influenced Eminem, which he did. Eminem mentions Esham on his very first album, his first major release. But when Esham says he bit me and he ripped me off, no, I wouldn't go as far. Influence. And everyone is influenced by all different types of music. Everything has been done before at a certain point. There are tons of guitar riffs where you go, this is reminiscent of this. Lyrics where you go, this song's reminiscent of this. But to say something was ripped off, there really has to be something that matches there that you go, this is the same thing. And I don't feel this way about this song. Although I was thinking about it and I go, man, how many songs around even that time have I'm Paranoid in the hook? How many songs mention that? And at first I said I can't even think of any others. But then I was thinking of the classic Garbage track, I Think I'm Paranoid, and I'm like, you could say that Paper Cut was influenced by this, right? Right? You know, so there are other hooks that have a I'm paranoid, I think I'm paranoid, it's like I'm paranoid, and I don't know if that necessarily means you ripped off the song, but both songs are great, both groups are great. I thought there was a great story from Goretex. I could absolutely see Mr. Hahn just like skipping out the back door being like, shit, I don't want to fuck with this guy, especially if he's in the club with some goons from Brooklyn. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you think he's way off base or if you go, these songs sound pretty similar. I want to hear your opinion. And yeah, as always, check out the merch store. We got limited edition merch. This mug has Ian Scotto Rocks on both sides and high quality limited edition shirts right at the link in description. And before you peace out here, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like the video, and check out this video right here if you're into Linkin Park, because I talk about my theory that I think Demi Lovato may have been asked to replace Chester Bennington in Linkin Park at one time. I know it sounds far-fetched, but I get into it, and you may side with me after you watch it, so check out this video right here.